So Nick, thank you so much for your time today and for having us down here. It's quite something you've created. How long in the planning is something like this to make for you?
Well, this was a sort of 7-month build. It took us about the same amount of time to build the creatures as it did for the art department to build the sets, So, yeah, it's about 7 months.
Wow. And then someone like Aragog, who's sat behind us looking ominous, like he might strike at any moment.
That's quite possible.
It's quite possible. How do you... Because I'm assuming this isn't the one that's specifically used in the film, or is it essentially the same thing, just a different build?
It's a different build. It's all out of the original moulds, with the original materials. Sort of, we've had to make a few changes mechanically because it actually has a different job to do. But it's basically the same thing, Yeah. It's just another one.
Amazing. And what's it like returning back to Potter? Obviously, 6 years since the final Harry Potter film. Obviously, we've had Fantastic Beasts since then. But is it quite nice for you to have had that break and then to return and start creating things that you loved so much for all those years?
Well, yeah, it's a bit like sort of going in the attic and opening the toy box and finding favourite toys and wondering sort of how they've fared. And no, it has been. It's nostalgic and it's fun. Because we worked on Potter 10 years, so there's a lot of memories tied up with all of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there one creature or even a set that was your favourite while filming, or even here at the studio tour now?
Well, I've always been very fond of Aragog. Then again, I would say that with him behind me. He was complex to build, and the result was very successful. But there are other things. I mean, most of the things we built, we had fun doing. We built a fire-breathing dragon. It doesn't get cooler than that. It's a wonderful thing to do. So, yeah, I mean, sort of all of it, really. I found I loved walking on the sets. After all, most of us who worked on the movies were fans of the books. So, we were just as keen to see what a particular set looked like, or a particular creature was going to look like, as anybody who's a fan.
Yeah, and with CG in today's cinema world, do you think that actually it's made creature effects specifically, but also just practical effects actually come into their own, where filmmakers are saying, do you know what, we've tried CG, it doesn't look good enough, we want to go back to practical again?
There does seem to be a trend building. It's very interesting because digital did completely take over. And it's like anything. There was a phase in makeup effects where everyone put balloons under foam rubber skins and made everything go puffy because of altered states, And things do go in phases, definitely. And sort of CG has done such incredibly good work and incredible things that you can't do. I think it's beginning to balance out now because actually there's some things that CG isn't as good at or is so complex to achieve, I question, okay, why are you making a complete version of a real human being when you can use a real human being? If you can't use a real human being, it's a great tool. But to do it for the sake of the technology, I question. Any more than I would deliberately say, let's build something mechanical for the sake of building it mechanically, when it's not actually the right thing to do. So it is interesting how it's gone. I will probably never build a walking Tyrannosaurus Rex. But then again, I'd be the first to say, that's a silly idea, don't do it.
Never say never, Nick.
No. Because, this kind of thing is about as far as you want to go. When we first talked about the spiders, it was like, well, they're going to string down on webs from the ceiling. And you're going, well, that's digital, and it should be digital. Don't be silly. But Aragog, we can build him because all he actually does is crawl out of a hole and deliver dialogue. That's all he has to do. Now, all is a very big word, and in the end you end up with 2 tons of machinery travelling on a sort of, on a track under the set in the most complex thing I think I've probably ever been involved in. But it was doable, and it did do what it was meant to do, and that's great. So it is it's a mixture.
So when I walked in the room, I was staggered by the scale of what you've created here. What is it that you want audiences to take away when they come and see the new exhibition here at the Studio Tour?
I think I want them to step outside the comfort of being at Hogwarts and feel a little of the insecurity of being on your own in the Forbidden Forest.
Fantastic.
It's creepy here.
It is creepy, especially with Aragog. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you